Introduction. The case for replaying old games. The future of gaming is in the past. It's a statement that feels uncomfortably true, like admitting your favorite diner coffee is better than that fancy third wave brew you've been pretending to enjoy. There are enough games. There's a library out there waiting for you, one that could last you a lifetime. Modern gaming, it's a landscape designed to spin you at every turn. Have you played the latest Call of Duty, they ask, like it's some moral obligation. What about Helldivers? The bugs won't kill themselves. Maybe your friends are neck deep in Pal World or chasing the latest League patch notes. And just as you download one game, the herd has already moved on to the next. It's a game you're not even playing, a treadmill of relevance that you're sprinting to keep up with. But here's the thing, you want to belong. You want to be in. Because to be out feels like exile, like dying a slow social death. That's the FOMO whispering in your ear, the lizard brain gnawing at your resolve. Who cares? The games you need were already made. Play the hits. They're cheaper, they're timeless, they're more rewarding, and most importantly, they respect you as a player. I'm Fausto. Welcome to Fautachi. In this video, I would like to talk about old video games, modern video games, and how there's already enough games to play a lifetime for. I won't be able to highlight just all the old games as there's so many, but the point of this video is to encourage you, hopefully by the end of it, to try playing an older game. As much as hype, it's fun to be a part of the hype, you know, that, oh shit, did you see that reveal trailer? Oh, the fucking the Nintendo ad. I don't know if anyone saw the latest Nintendo ad. Oh bro, they took the thumbstick and they went woo. Like it's like this shit isn't that's not what we're here for. We're here to have fun. Like, yeah, you're gonna buy it, it's gonna collect dust. Maybe I'm just jaded from buying a PlayStation 5 and like playing like 2 games on it. I bought it literally to play God of War. And then I played like Astro and I was like, great, 2 games. And then I thought about when I had fun playing games. And it's not just a childhood nostalgia. I don't like the angle that you old man, which I'm not even that old. I'm still in my 20s, guys. But they're like, oh, you stop living in the past, old man. Games back then were designed as complete products on purpose. Now it's being invested by so many people. They expect X return. The budgets are in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and then they're like, "Oh man, it sucks." So I hope by the end of this video you feel as though you could play some classic games, and they're cheap. They're cheap. Fucking play Deus Ex, play Bioshock, and it's crazy saying that these games are old and that there's a whole generation of gamers or people in general who just haven't played the hits. They haven't played good games. Well, they're playing games. I don't want to say Genshin's not a good game. It's just there's more games that are more fulfilling and provide a better experience, in my opinion. I think completing a game that's designed to be completed in one go as a complete package feels good. This all started with Batman Arkham Origins. Let me set the scene. So I bought a Steam Deck on a whim because honestly, if Gabe Newell were selling plutonium flavored ice cream, I'd probably take 2 scoops and ask for sprinkles. I feel like Steam and Gabe in general are a salesman slash company who gets it, or at least they get it more than most. They have constant sales and they always kind of know what people want for the most part. So fast forward a couple of weeks and my Steam Deck was gathering dust. I've been a PC player my whole life, but after hours of staring at a computer screen for my job, the last thing I wanted was to sit in front of another computer screen to game. Enter the dusty Steam Deck. A glorified couch console, yes, one that you could play on the toilet, but one that let me migrate from my desk to the couch. A blanket wrapped around me, my wife reading a book by my side. It was cozy, tactile, and human. And that's where I rediscovered Arkham Origins. I bought it on sale for a couple of bucks 8 years ago. A game no one remembers unless you bring it up in conversation. It's almost 10 years old, or it's 10 years old. But you know what? That game slapped. It was great. The combat, the sound design, the younger, angrier Batman with his fists like thunder, it all hit different. And it got me thinking, what else have I missed? So I dusted off my old 3DS, and I popped in a copy of Donkey Kong Returns 3D. And man, it was like opening a time capsule to a better era. These games weren't just old. They're not old. They were complete. No hotfixes, no 60 gigabyte patches, no promises of content down the line. Everything was there, ready to go, sealed in time like a perfectly preserved meal. And it wasn't just nostalgia. These games stood the test of time because they were built differently. They were designed to be complete experiences without relying on flashy distractions or technical crutches. It was my first time playing a Donkey Kong game, so maybe even people older than me could tell me more about maybe the N64 version and so forth. But playing Donkey Kong, I felt a sense of whimsy that I haven't felt in a long time. And it's an old game. You could argue that you could get that from a modern game, but I felt very much joy playing this game, which is a remake of a game that's almost 20 years old. You feel me? 20 years. So game design was good 20 years ago. Why no as many hits nowadays? Part 2, graphics are overrated. These games didn't need 4K textures or hyper-realistic reflections to capture my attention. Their design and gameplay stood on their own. A stark contrast to today's obsession with visuals over substance. Alright, let's get this out of the way. Does this look bad to you? Go ahead, laugh, make your fake wretched noises. Clutch your pearls at the slightly dated textures, which aren't dated at all. Look at these. Look at this shit. Oh, my eyes. Get out of here. Now, let's do the comparison dance. Here's some modern 4K eye candy. Ooh, oh, it's so overproduced. Yes, yeah. This is the future of gaming, they tell you. But is it really? Tell me, does it feel better? Does it make your blood pump, or is it just there? Let's rewind the clock. Back then, we were spoiled. Every new console cycle brought leaps in visuals, gameplay, and immersion. Half-Life to Half-Life 2, revolutionary. The jump from 2D sprites to full 3D environments in the late 90s, mind-blowing. But here we are in 2025 watching Sony trot out PS5 Pro press conferences to show us side-by-side improvements that look identical unless you've got bionic eyes. And the people clap. Graphics? We hit the ceiling years ago, arguably a decade ago. Sure, things are technically better, higher fidelity, more polygons, shinier puddles, but that's all surface level. A hollow shell dressed up for a prom nobody wants to attend. And you know what really keeps people coming back? Say it with me. Gameplay. It's right there in the name. We play games to have fun, to be challenged, to escape, not to count chin hairs or admire water reflections. Let's test this. So let's take a game that I've been playing as well that's visually simple, like Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I've been going through all the Mario and Luigi games on this. Every pixel in that game feels like it was placed with purpose. Every sprite brimming with personality. And now let's stack that against some modern shovelware game with 4K textures, dynamic lighting, and the emotional depth of a toaster. Guess which one leaves a lasting impression? Somewhere along the line, the industry decided that prettier equals better, and we, like fools, bought into it. It just means the budget went into rendering sweat beads and foliage density instead of crafting an experience worth your time. I don't think we need this to have fun. I don't think graphics have resulted in a better experience in the game. What blows me away is I was playing Dark Souls Remastered, and the whole game's like 15 gigabytes. And it still looks great. I implore you to try playing a game with dated graphics, quote unquote, and see if the gameplay itself holds up. I'll admit it, I wasn't always a Nintendo guy. As a kid, the games felt too bright, too cheerful, too for kids. I wanted grit. I wanted the blood, shadows, gun. But as I've grown older, I've realized something. Nintendo understood the assignment better than anyone else. Their games aren't trying to impress you with the specs or sell you the graphics arms race. They don't need to. They aren't just games. They're works of art, crafted with a singular purpose: to delight. The Switch has the graphical power of a smart fridge, and it's still lapping the competition. because Nintendo knows what matters. Meanwhile, Microsoft, they folded on the console wars entirely, pivoting to a subscription service like they're hawking a glorified Netflix for games. And Sony, they're busy showing us the same high definition water for the 10th year in a row. But water, no matter how realistic, can't quench your thirst for meaningful gameplay. Here's the ugly truth. Modern games with their gloss and polish often feel soulless, like a mansion filled with expensive furniture but no one living inside. Older games were built with constraints. They had to prioritize creativity, gameplay, and design because they didn't have the luxury of leaning on tech. There were limitations. Those constraints bred innovation. And it's that innovation we're missing today. Modern games often feel bloated, too long, too drawn out, designed not to entertain but to stretch out engagement metrics and keep you tethered to the grind. And that's not gaming. You're not playing a game, it's a job. Part 3, a world built to keep you hooked. It all started innocently enough, like it always does, with Bethesda. Back in 2006, they dangled a shiny little piece of armor in front of Elder Scrolls Oblivion players, horse armor, $2.50. An experiment, they called it. A harmless test to gauge how the market would react to downloadable content. And we bought it, literally. What Bethesda planted as a curiosity grew into the poison ivy strangling the industry today. It started small. Additional maps, a few quests, a little something to expand your favorite game. But those seeds didn't stop growing. They sprouted into something far darker. Loot boxes, gotchas, resellable skins, season passes, flash passes, road maps, each one more insidious than the last. Let me break them down for you. Loot boxes, gambling in a trench coat, complete with flashy lights and dopamine triggering jingles. Gotchas, the same thing but sneakier, often dressed in cutesy anime aesthetics to distract you from the trap you're stepping into. Resellable skins, turning the player base into speculators, leveraging fake scarcity to inflate value. Season passes, pay up front for content you haven't even played yet, you haven't even seen yet. No refunds. Flash passes, limited time deals because nothing screams value like panic buying digital trinkets. Roadmaps, the promise of a better tomorrow, usually offered when the game today is half-baked at best. Designed from the ground up, not to entertain, but to hook you. It's a goddamn casino. The psychology of manipulation. Let's talk about science for a moment. Gamblers get an endorphin rush simply from the anticipation of a result. Now imagine that phenomenon amplified with vibrant colors, over-the-top animations, sound effects that make a loot box feel like a slot machine at the Bellagio. You're not just playing a game anymore. You're the mark in a rigged hustle. Here's how they get you. The gambler's fallacy. Every time you open a loot box, you don't get what you want, you think, I'm due to win soon. Except you're not. Each box has the same odds as the last. The house always wins. Keep buying it. You're right around the corner. See, the sunk cost fallacy. You've already spent 20 bucks, so what's another 10 to finally get that skin? It's not about the skin anymore. It's about justifying your previous losses. FOMO, fear of missing out. Limited times exclusives, artificially created scarcity. If you don't buy it now, it's gone forever. And when you see someone else wearing that skin, you're reminded of what you don't have. A walking advertisement. All of them. It's predatory. It's calculated, and it's exhausting. Here's the thing. These older games, the ones where all the DLCs have already been released or didn't have DLCs at all, but the ones with the DLCs already released, bundled into the Game of the Year editions that you can grab for $10, they don't pull this crap. These mechanics didn't exist yet. They weren't baked into the business model. When you play an old game, you're not stepping into a treadmill designed to keep you running forever. You're entering a complete experience, one that respects your time, your intelligence, and your wallet. You play, you progress, you finish. Simple, satisfying. No daily login bonuses, no battle pass grind, no looming FOMO to make you feel inadequate when you see the other player with their juicy skin. Let's take Arkham Origins. No roadmap, no season pass, just you, Gotham, and a cape. Or Donkey Kong Country Returns. Every collectible, every challenge, baked into the core experience. No patch notes required. These games give you something modern gaming rarely does: closure. The beauty of a closed loop. These older games, they're like a good meal at an honest diner. No hidden fees, no upsells, no premium menu items designed to make you question your regular order. You get your plate, you eat your fill, and you leave satisfied. Modern games, by contrast, are like fast food chains with 100 different limited time gimmicks. Sure, the billboard looks enticing. Sure, but the burger, it's always smaller than it looks. And you leave hungry, wondering why you even bothered. But the classics, they're timeless. Rewards without manipulation, fun without strings attached. These games weren't built to trap you, they were built to set you free. The power of mods. Where corporations see games as disposable revenue streams, communities see them as canvases for creativity. Modders aren't just keeping old games alive, they're making them better than ever. Mods deserve their time in the sun, because if you think old games are just relics collecting digital dust, think again. Modding isn't just a hobby, it's a full-blown renaissance. I'm not here to litigate the ethics of modding. Let's not pretend that the corporations care much for your sense of digital ownership anyway. You buy a game, maybe from Steam, maybe somewhere else, and you don't really own it, in case you don't know that. But since it's in your library, what you do with it is your business. And for decades, dedicated modders have been proving just how much life is left in these so-called finished games. The modding community is a curious, beautiful thing. It's a testament to creativity, passion, and a refusal to let great games fade into obsolescence. Let's talk some examples. DayZ from Arma 2, a gritty military simulator transformed into a zombie apocalypse survival experience so influential it became its own standalone genre. Counter-Strike from Half-Life, the original mod to mainstream success story, birthing one of the most competitive shooters of all time. We have The Long War for XCOM. It took an already challenging tactical game and made it deeper, harder, and more rewarding. A labor of love that turned frustration into a badge of honor. Minecraft mods, a universe within a universe. From adventure maps to graphic overhauls, the Minecraft community practically built entire galaxies. Gary's Mod, the Swiss Army knife of mods. It started as a quirky little sandbox for Half-Life 2 and turned into a playground of infinite possibilities. And yes, we have Gary's Mod to thank for all those Skibidi Toilet memes. Team Fortress from Quake. Before Team Fortress 2 became a phenomenon, it was a simple mod that turned the FPS formula into something colorful, chaotic, and endless fun. Each of these started as a fan's experiment and ended up redefining what we thought a game could be. If a game enjoyed even a whisper of success, there's probably a modding community keeping its flame alive. I've been diving back into the Arkham games with the community patch, an unofficial love letter from the fans. It adds free roam features, unlocks cut content, and brings in new costumes that were buried deep in the code. It's like finding hidden treasures in a game you thought you already knew. And I played some of these decades ago. Mods don't just enhance games, they create new ones. They turn your old library into a sandbox, a museum, and a playground all rolled into one. That 10-year-old game collecting dust on your digital shelf? With the right mods, it might be your next obsession. Why mods matter. Mods are more than just tinkering. They're proof that games don't have to die, that creativity doesn't stop at the credits. Modders take what was once static and make it dynamic, adding layers of replayability and personal touch. Even the industry knows this. Many major developers started out as modders themselves. Valve embraces mods so much that it turns fan projects into flagship franchises. And some of the best ideas in modern gaming came from people who weren't bound by corporate deadlines or quarterly profit margins. In a world where games are increasingly served as live service, constantly patched and monetized to death, mods stand as a rebellion. They say, no, this isn't over. They refuse to let the final word be spoken by a dev team that's already moved on to the next big thing. Mods give us freedom to reshape, rebuild, and reimagine. The downsides to replaying old games, addressing some potential criticisms. First, let's address the elephant in the room: hardware. Finding and running old games can feel like trying to start a rusted out car on a frozen morning. The cartridges are finicky, the discs are scratched to hell, the systems are aged like unpasteurized cheese. Let's take my new 3DS for example. A relic I had to hunt down in Amsterdam, of all places, because the secondhand market back in North America is absolutely cooked. Prices are through the roof, and availability might be a bit hard to find. Now, if you're talking Nintendo, good luck finding something affordable. Their games never go on sale. But you can go on maybe some marketplace around you. But outside that bubble, you'd be surprised what you can dig up at Facebook Marketplace or at like local thrift shop. The PlayStations, Xboxes are still out there, waiting for someone to dust them off. If a game was ever on PC, there's a good chance it's still kicking around today, held together with duct tape and sheer willpower. Classics tend to have dedicated communities ironing out the kinks, ensuring that these games run on modern systems. But if you're chasing after obscure gems or games that were never on PC, good luck, my friend. Then there's the Frankenstein's element of emulation. Stuttering frame rates, glitching textures, audio sync issues, and crashes that seem designed to test your patience. But you know what? That's part of the charm. There's a strange satisfaction in finally getting it to run, like tuning up a classic car. And when you do, enjoy that glorious boost of seeing a game that once struggled at 720p now humming along in high resolution and buttery frame rates. Not every game needs to be a timeless masterpiece, or it could be a timeless masterpiece for you. Sometimes a game just needs to click with you, even if it's for a fleeting moment. And if you're having fun, does it even matter if it doesn't hold up to modern standards? Games that restored my faith in the medium. They're the tried and true classics that focus on one thing above all else: fun. Let's start with the Batman Arkham series. I don't care what anyone says about the latest installment, I'm gonna pretend that doesn't exist. I'm here to talk about the real gems: Arkham Asylum, City, Knights, and the ever underrated Origins. These games are masterclasses in storytelling, atmosphere, and gameplay mechanics. You really feel like Batman. Every punch, every glide, every unraveling of the Joker's schemes is finely tuned to immerse you in Gotham's dark, twisted world. Then there's Donkey Kong Country Returns on 3DS. My first foray into the Donkey Kong universe. And let me tell you, I didn't get the hype at first. I was thinking it's a monkey in a tie. But that changed the moment I found myself clenching my 3DS, heart pounding, running through a collapsing lava cavern with one heart remaining. The adrenaline, the perfectly timed jumps, the razor sharp level design, the beautiful soundtrack, it all came together. This wasn't just a game, it was an experience. Kirby Planet Robobot, whether you're riding in a giant mech suit or inhaling the enemies to copy their abilities, it's a game that says, here, have fun. No strings attached. And honestly, that's Kirby's thing. Any game from the whole entire series is guaranteed to be a good time. And of course, Mario and Luigi, Superstar Saga. Conclusion: why old is the new new. Modern games have become a landscape of infinite options but finite satisfaction. The endless treadmill of updates, microtransactions, and hyper-realistic graphics often feel more like a distraction than an invitation to play. But the joy of gaming isn't buried under layers of monetization or hidden behind a paywall. It's waiting in the games that we already love and the ones that respect your time and your intelligence. Replaying old games isn't just about nostalgia or reliving a bygone era. It's about remembering what games are supposed to be: fun, challenging, and rewarding. In a world increasingly driven by corporate metrics and fleeting trends, old games offer something radical: permanence. They're complete, polished, and immune to the industry churn. And when you add the creativity of modding or the charm of shared memories, they're more than games. They're artifacts of a golden era kept alive by people who truly love them. So maybe the future of gaming is in the past, not as a retreat, but as rediscovery, a way to cut through the noise and find the joy that got us here. Play the hits, they're worth it. I've been Fausto. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Introduction would be if it's like a pop, 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 pop type, or if it's like a doo doo doo, boop, doo 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 doo. Might go with the GTA intro, like ding, dong, ding, dong, ding. Play my indigenous flute. I mean, I could like as an introduction. That's funny as an introduction. Hi. No, cause like The GTA intro sequence is classic. That shit's like bing, bum, ba-dim, bum, ba-dim. And like your image gets sliced. Like it gets sliced and like another image shows, and then it slices again and like another image shows. Like a slideshow kind of a little bit with like really good jazz.